Richie, 48 hours on, how do you look back on Saturday's opener?
Frustrated, obviously off the back of not winning the game. Pleased with a lot of the stuff, but obviously there's a lot of things that we need to tidy up on. I think I read a stat yesterday, we had the most shots in the league, we had the second most crosses put in the box, and we had the second least amount of attempts on our goal in the whole league. So there's positives, but we also know that it's a results-orientated game, so we've got to win football matches. So I thought we deserved something out of it, but in the end we didn't. So there's things to improve on.
You've mentioned those stats there, and it was evident watching on the good spells you enjoyed during the game. How do you A, go on about extending those, and B, getting your rewards from them?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's all right saying we had the most shots and we had the second most crosses, but it resulted in one goal. So that isn't enough if you're going to have 21 efforts at goal, and I think it was 26 crosses. So ensuring that when the ball does get into the final third, everybody knows where it's going to go, what's going to happen. Just keep reinforcing the positives, which we did in the meeting this morning, that some of it was pretty good, really. However, obviously the goals are disappointing. If we've only had the second least number of shots on our goal and come away conceding 2, then that's disappointing. So we all know that there was individual errors that we need to tidy up, and had they not, then maybe we'd have won the game. But individual errors do cost games, they cost goals, and it's our job to try and eradicate them.
Does that make it in some ways harder to work on those things on the training ground when they are individual errors?
Yeah, a little bit, and sometimes it can just be, showing them, and you hope that those mistakes don't keep reoccurring. And obviously, the higher up you go, those mistakes don't, because they're international footballers or people who have played in the Premier League. So, yeah, in fairness, people have held their hand up this morning, which is obviously the culture that we try and create. But there's no getting away from it. It's cost us. Getting off to a really good start in what's going to be a tough campaign.
You've spoken about culture there. We all know the kind of playing style you want. How pleased were you in those good spells to see, winning the ball back high at the pitch, pressing high? That's exactly your kind of ethos.
Yeah. Sustaining attacks, ensuring that we keep taking the game to the opposition. I think there was a spell, I think Hammy was saying this morning, it was something like 24 minutes. I think they got the ball in our box once in 24 minutes in the second half. So, pleasing, because obviously we were sustaining attacks, we were maintaining the opportunities for us to go and finish with end products. We were keeping people penned in. The pressing was good, the work ethic was good, the fitness was good. But unfortunately, I think if we would have taken the lead, then the game obviously would have been different. But we didn't really make that 25-minute spell count.
A little bit of housekeeping. Nathaniel Mendes-Land came off late on. How's he?
Yeah, his hamstrings were a bit tight. The positive was it was both hamstrings, which very rarely do people pull both hamstrings. So it was probably a little bit of fatigue and soreness. So he has trained today. So hopefully we can ensure that he stays fit. But yeah, it was a little bit of tightness in his hamstrings towards the end of the game, and obviously you keep him on for another 5 or 10 minutes and you could be without him for weeks. So it was the right thing to do to take him off.
A couple that missed out at the weekend, Tom Barkhausen, Louis Sibley, how are they progressing?
Yeah, they're out running, but they haven't joined in with training yet. So I would imagine they're just ticking off the final few things to ensure that they're safe to come and join in with us. But yeah, they're getting there from an actual fitness point of view, and then it's just a matter of them as trying to get up to speed. And unfortunately, because it's been a couple of weeks, they've missed quite a lot of match minutes. So once we get them fit and they're training with us, then it's match minutes as quickly as possible.
Speak about match minutes, Callum Elder, Kane Wilson got a few more under their belts. Yeah. How pleased were you with their impact off the bench?
Yeah, well, I thought it came at the time when the two wing backs that started, Joe and Fozzie, and obviously they combined for the goal. I thought it was probably their best 15 minutes. However, we also looked at them and thought there was a little bit of fatigue setting in. But we knew that they were fatiguing a little bit in wide areas, so we just felt that the fresh legs, of which obviously Kane was a real threat for 15-20 minutes when he came on, not so much down Callum's side because the game was more down the right-hand side. But for both of them, it was their home debut. Obviously, they played in friendlies, well, Kane had, but yeah, their home debut, you've got to get that out of the way. You've got to get that experience of playing in front of our crowd and in our stadium. So, but yeah, they made a good impact, I thought. And like I say, I thought all 4 wing backs, in fairness to them, were really positive.
How much will you rotate the side for tomorrow in terms of, you've got 4 games in the opening 2 weeks of the season, a very busy spell, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's always that time of year when, I mean, in fairness, if we were having this conversation probably in 7-8 weeks' time, when people are more used to playing Saturday, Tuesday, it's not as much of an issue. But the other thing we have to be aware of, and I'm sure everyone has to get used to at the moment, is this extra time. You know, our ball in play went up by about 14 minutes, I think, compared to the average of the last season. So we've got to see how that really, because obviously in pre-season you don't do that, you just play 90 minutes. So we've got to see how that affects some of them. But at the moment, we know 1 or 2 that could keep going, and we also 1 or 2 that need the minutes, but we're not just doing it as a we need minutes, we're doing it because we want to win the game. So any changes that we make or any freshening up will be about winning, as opposed to, you know, just giving somebody an opportunity. We want to win the game. Another
who could get minutes, I suppose, now is Martin Waghorn. How pleased you add him to the squad?
Yeah, it took probably a couple of days longer than we were hoping, but we got there in the end. And obviously it's a place that he knows very well, and he's a player that our crowd know very well, and I'm sure they'll make him feel very welcome. But yeah, he just somebody who came in and had a couple of days with us, and then it progressed into, you know, he's fitted in pretty well with the group really, and he was something that we probably felt we didn't have at that time, and we probably did need a few more numbers at the top end of the pitch. So after a couple of days of toing and froing, we managed to get him over the line. So looking forward to him. Unfortunately, I think he missed out by about 7 or 8 hours of not being involved at the weekend. So he can now be involved and start his round 2 of his career here.
You mentioned it there, so he's got something you don't have. What do you feel he will bring to the side?
Well, he's certainly got top experience. You know, he's been we were watching some of his clips from when he was here a couple of years ago, and some of the goals that he scored, the experiences that he's had. He knows the game. We've done loads of research about him as a person, the way he is around the place with the clubs that he's been at since he left here. So he's just a calming, steady influence who looks like he just enjoys playing the game. So I think for the younger boys, he will be a real help, but for some of the experienced ones, he'll just help take a little bit of the burden.
Blackpool tomorrow night then, how important is it to get a win early doors in the season?
Yeah, well, you always start the season thinking, look, we need to get our first goal, our first win and our first clean sheet. So the sooner you get that, the sooner you can move on, and it makes things a little bit easier. So obviously we got our first goal, but no win, no clean sheet. So it doesn't matter how it comes, winning's a habit, and we want to win every game we play in, whether it's a cup game or a league game or whatever it is, even the friendlies. So yeah, it is important, and winning becomes a habit. Losing becomes a habit, winning becomes a habit, and it's a habit that we want to get into, that you can, you know, springboard into the league. And also, if 1 or 2 people get a chance tomorrow night and they take it, then who's to say that you know, they don't drop out of the team for the next 6, 7, 8 weeks. So it's an opportunity for 1 or 2 people, but it's also, like you say, it's another opportunity for us to get our first win. And it doesn't matter whether it's league or cup, we just want to win games.
Does it add an extra edge to it that Blackpool are a side you'd imagine will be up there in competition with you this season?
Well, it means that we've ended up playing 2 teams relegated out of the Championship in 4 days at the start of the season. So 2 big tests, and they're very good, by the way. You know, I watched them play their game against Burton yesterday, and they were excellent and deserved winners of the game, and looked in charge of the game throughout. So you would certainly envisage that they're going to be a top 6 team. So it is a difficult game for us, but like I say, it's the way the fixtures have gone, it hasn't really helped with two teams relegated out the Championship, plus a local derby in our first week. But it is what it is, and you know, we have to get back winning as quickly as possible.
Yeah, what will Blackpool bring?
They look like a real athletic group of players. They can all deal with the ball really well. They make the pitch really big. Their shape's very similar to ours with their back 3. Obviously very well coached. Everybody knows what their job is. And I'm sure they are, as the people who were there last season, who have now you know, been relegated, are probably have that extra little bit of enthusiasm to get themselves back into the Championship again. And I would definitely envisage that they're going to be there or thereabouts. But if we're going to do that, then we have to obviously, you know, we have to compete with these teams. And that starts with tomorrow, and it doesn't make any difference. Like I say, I think last year we beat Barnsley in the Cup, and maybe somebody else who were all teams that we were competing with. Sometimes it's just a good test for us.